When we are looking at high expertise teaching, what should we see?
I'm going to go back out there, I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to say, okay, well, this side of the backyard was 6.
Do you think most of these words fall under a fixed mindset or a growth mindset?
That he took a wrong turn, soon the group found themselves in the front of the king's castle.
So John Saphier is all about growth. He is really focused on what can we do to help teachers and administrators grow. It's not about doing anything new, because in Sarasota we already do a lot, we already know a lot. It's about how can every teacher perfect their craft.
Yeah. Putting the educator at the center of it, like you were saying, to put ourselves in that mindset of we need to be teaching as well.
To be able to walk through those doors, to be able to respect each other, to be able to, build upon that culture within their classroom. At some point, she had to really demand that in a very firm and warm way. I think
it's an unusual district in that it's very high performing, but it has not swept under the carpet the realization and the public acknowledgement that you have an achievement gap here, and then there's the commitment to want to do something about it.
The achievement gap is so real in Sarasota. We know it, and we have got to demand that we are going to do whatever it takes to close the gap. We have 200 of our staff working on this in 20 different subcommittees, and there are areas that we just need to really insist we are all doing the same thing.
John Saphier is the author of 2 books offered this summer for teachers as book study, High Expectations Teaching and The Skillful Teacher. John is all about closing the achievement gap by building relationships and providing succinct instruction that is culturally proficient. He's pulling together all the work Sarasota County Schools has done and given it a focus.
You can't do this kind of long-term work if you don't have a steering group of people who take responsibility for planning and communicating about it. If you just start it, it becomes another project that had its champion, the champion leaves and it fades away. So now we have 22 people who own this.
When you're thinking alone, you don't come up with very many things, but then someone will spark something and then you almost solve it yourself. It's like what happens with the kids when they talk.
Yeah, because it's just processing.
Yeah,
It's the importance of process and taking the time to do the process.
How important it'll be to think about our different groups, like our department chairs, our APCs, our different leadership groups, and how do we create the common language for them so we can send out the same message and build capacity that way.
If we are looking at doing this instructionally, how are we going to have the operations side to be able to support what we're trying to do instructionally?
This is our steering committee coming together to really make sure they're all on the same page on our instructional program. And what I think, to me, that's what really will give the initiative staying power and ownership, is that it's not something that came from the superintendent's office or from the assistant superintendent for curriculum. This is something that is important to us, and it's coming really from every corner of our district.
Student by student accountability talks. I think that is, I'm so happy he talked about that today. And then the last piece I think is great because it's a way to structure what we already do, doing frequent short visits and having conversations about claims, evidence, and impact.
Nobody improves by being evaluated. People improve when they're helped. So evaluation, whether it's children and assessments of children, that's not about how to teach children to learn. Same as our evaluation system is not about helping teachers improve. John Saphier is about helping each one of us improve.
But the executive directors have been every single one of these events I just ticked off. They've been there at all of them. And it is rare that you find a district where throughout the top level leadership, you have owners and champions. So that's another thing that makes me feel optimistic. And the superintendent came to the session I did for the foundation people. Foundation people? Who has a district that's trying to do this with 5 foundations already committed to the district? That's a very, very positive picture.
The fact that you're here with famous John to get even better says a lot about the attitude of the district. So thank you for allowing us to be your host today.
there was a whole year of preparation internally. And that meant that many schools did a book study of a book called High Expectation Teaching, which is about what teachers do if they want to get low-performing, low-confidence kids to actually close the achievement gap, which can be done. And then the next thing, which was, you got to get the principals to feel it's worthwhile. One of the things is short observations and thinking about it in terms of claims, evidence, and impact. So I'm going to pretend that I'm you and I had one of those, or you can, and I had one of those 15-minute observations and act like I would if I were doing one of them.
Well, I'll be interested to see it through your lens, because one of the things that I told Chris yesterday was, I don't know what I don't know. And so what you were talking about yesterday about all those nuances, and we read them in the book about, you know, what we say to students, and our intention is to do this, but what we're saying and doing is really showing them this.
Right.
So I'm very interested in that.
Take a second, look at the quote. Think about what it means and why I chose to put that up there. And then I want you to turn and talk to your partner next to you and think about what it means.
She did like one time she did. I think she English song the Arizona deserts and all those places. So I think that that's giving her a new view of life that she's never seen before, because her life is pretty bad. But when she goes to England and the deserts, I think that shows her a really good, new, awesome view of life.
The students talk more than the teacher does. And they explain their thinking, and they start interacting with one another, and they're not afraid to be wrong. Now, those are all high voltage characteristics of a classroom where the discouraged kids start to feel more confidence.
Okay. Raise your hand if you did 3 times 36, or 1 times 36. So put your hand if you did 12 times 3. What about pollution? Because back
They didn't
then,
pollute that much.
Back then they didn't have pollution, yes, but today we have pollution. So fencing basically means, yeah, that's what we both.
Then you show me how to do it. You show me how much you
The way the teacher in the group talks to the kids will either show she's trying to build their confidence when they're stuck or not. If I get stuck and you say, help them out, Marcia. Marcia helps me out. Marcia provides the answer. And then I go on, I get stuck again, and somebody else provides. That's not too cool for me. And it isn't showing me what I could have done next time that would have made me not be stuck on that. So I'm looking at that. I'm also looking at some of the routines. The first reading group, we were in there, she had these cute routines that the kids smiled and laughed and joined into with hand signals about who goes next. So there's a multiplicity of things going on simultaneously with regards to personal relationship building, level of cognitive task, I believe in you messages being conveyed to kids, and the actual learning that takes place in how she handles the different levels of capacity shown by the kids who are there in the group.
Back then, they just had to evacuate and just move somewhere else. But now, we can just call 911, like I said, and they'll put out the fire.
It's like Saphier.
Yeah.
Takumi, I disagree with that, because didn't they have like 000 or something?
I think that some of us as educators have kind of grown up with the notion that feedback is giving a child a grade, giving a child a % correct or a number wrong. That is not feedback. That's pure evaluation. Feedback is when you're giving children specific strategies on how they can improve.
At times I go by myself to schools, so I'm going to set time for next school year to go and observe them while they are interacting, while providing support at the schools.
I even noted the pre-planning conferences, because that is it's a little more proactive to be sure they're really thinking about what the students are hearing in the learning and teaching, because they're wanting to learn how to write those better.
Well, it's true that what you inspect shows what you expect. And you can turn the sentence around. What you expect if you really expect it, is what you'll inspect.
Another part of what we're learning with John Saphier's team, Research for Better Teaching, is that a way to improve is when teachers have the ability to collaborate with each other, to collaborate on standards-based lessons, to collaborate on observing each other, and then after the observation, debriefing about what they saw and talking about what are the children doing. It's not about evaluating the teacher, it's about growth.
I'm going to give you the confidence and the tools to believe in yourself. I'm going to teach you how to do effective effort, and I'm not going to give up on you. The kids know who these people are, and they can always tell you.
Hopefully they will see that children don't give up when it's hard. Hopefully they'll see that their children are responding to their teachers with enthusiasm, with real engagement in the learning process. Hopefully they'll see children taking ownership of their own learning.
Everybody's going to want their kids to go to a district that honors learning and pushes for it at the same time. The second thing is you'll be flooded with applicants to get teaching jobs and administrators jobs here. Why? If you can say, if you join this school district, you'll be better next year than you are now, no matter how good you already are. That is nirvana to teachers. Teachers want an environment where they can learn and get better. That's, you know, the people that come into this profession are good people, usually idealistically motivated by wanting to do something of service.
And when we have teams at every school, and when we have every school in our entire district understanding that this collaboration is how we improve, it's how we build collective efficacy. When we have that, and only when we have that, will our district really move from really good to great.